Hello and welcome to another episode of the Obstacle Race Magazine podcast. We're now on, what episode are we on, Kev?
23.
We are, and we've
Shooting
got
up.
the love...
Shooting up.
Shooting up, I know.
Nearly
They
at a
seem
quarter
to
of a
be-
century.
They're clocking up nicely, aren't they? We have got Gavin Levitt with us this week, the race director of Zeus Racers, if you don't know him.
Why don't you know him?
And it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to be experimenting this week. Kevin's going to be taking the lead and I'm just going to be sitting back and doing what he normally does and looking like I'm dropping sleep and stuff. So
I'm the Piers Morgan.
you are just
And I'll be
nowhere
the
near
dodgy
as much money.
politician
And
not answering questions.
exactly. So go for it, Kev.
Okay. Hello, Gavin.
How are we doing? All right.
All good, thank you very much.
Good.
Yeah, so what we've done with other race directors that have been on the podcast, we sort of have a chat about the past, the present, the future. Not just for Zeus, but you've got quite a history in OCR anyway. And I see, like, from your background of what you did at university and some of the other things, previous jobs you had, it's like this is your life, this is, isn't it? These Facebook stalkers. That you've always been doing stuff with your hands and construction and installation and joinery and that sort of thing. So it sort of lends itself well into OCR. So if you take it back to the sort of start, and your first OCR was around 2012 sort of time, was it?
Yeah, 2012. I think my first one would have been Tough Guy. I tell you why I started doing them is because I sat at home and saw an event on Channel 4 about these epic people who were running this course, doing mad challenges, running through fire, getting electrocuted, and I thought, that's for me, I want to give that a go. And back then it was kind of before it was popular, not a lot of people knew about it. The nearest thing you could get to it was
It was
like
just
a
Tough Guy, wasn't it?
military.
Tough Guy was
it
OCR.
was, yeah, it was just Tough Guy. And I went and did my very first one was Tough Guy Nettle Warrior, which I just fell in love with it instantly. You get to be a big kid again, don't you? You get to, roll in the mud, run about, and don't get told
It's not
off.
a real tough guy though, Nettle Warrior.
No, well, to be fair, if you look at it now, it's kind of it's a bit easy, isn't it? When the first time I did it, the nettle part of the Nettle Warrior was about a 5 metre by 5 metre patch of stinger nettles, and that was it. And by the time I went through, everyone else had been through, so there was a path that had been flattened through for me anyway.
Just lift your arms up above your head.
That's it. You've done that. I know you've done that.
It is one that it's kind of freakish though. Nettle Warrior. Some years the nettles are ridiculously bad, and they can be as high as the frames that hold like the electric shock bits and pieces together, and then other years they'll get next to nothing, and but front runners obviously get it the worst. Like you say, they're the ones who trample the path in first place, and ones who are having to use chamomile lotion and antihistamines for a few days afterwards.
I never got stung once being at the back.
I took my son for his birthday and his friend. We did Nettle Warrior and absolutely hammered it down. I mean, it's July. You expect it to be nice and sunny, but absolutely torrential rain. But I think that's just Tough Guys have got its own microclimate there. So after that, you sort of picked up and did loads of OCRs. And again, looking back, you did your first Spartan at Pippinford in 2014. And I think 2015, did you go on and do sort of 40, 50 different OCRs in 1 year?
Yeah, I did. So the very first Spartan I didn't really know a lot about obstacle course companies back then. So I didn't know who the providers were and what was big and what was small. And I went and did Spartan at Pippinford Park. I think it was a beast that I did. Great event. Thought it was fantastic. So I'll go and do more. The following year, there probably was only a couple of weekends where we didn't do one or two events of some description. There was one weekend where we went and did 4 events in 2 days. So we did the Warrior Run, Mud Monsters, a colour run, and Can't think what the other one was now, but it was just a fantastic weekend day of just all out racing, and it was an obsession for a full year, just racing and doing as many different events as possible.
So, from doing all these events, along comes escape races. How did that come about?
Well,
Or is it something you don't want to talk about in your past?
right, so escape races.
He's on the spot here. He's got the question he didn't want to have.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Right, escape races. Being a builder and in construction, I felt that I could build an event along with Mark Noble. We thought we could do the same sort of thing. We went into partnership with a couple of other people. And for our first event, actually, escape races was a very good event. There was around between 450 and 500 people that came. It was a themed obstacle course, lots of obstacles. We actually bought mud, sweat and beer. So we bought all the obstacles, and Nigel at the time came and did some helped us out on that event. And it went okay, apart from the sign-up system when they came in. But the personalities involved were just like opening a box of hand grenades, to be fair. And
Too many cooks.
too many what?
Too many cooks.
Oh, right,
Cooks,
sorry.
I
Yeah.
said.
Yeah, cooks. Yeah, cooks.
Yeah.
Yeah, too many cooks. So me and Mark then decided to take a sidestep. We had a bit of money, we had a bit of experience in construction and building, so we decided to go and put on Zeus races, but in a very different format, because at that time, and it's different now, you couldn't do an obstacle course race with your child, or in fact no children could do obstacle course races anyway, and we basically wanted our kids to be able to do these events, so that's where Zeus Races was born. Humble beginnings, 2015.
And how has it evolved since then? Like how have you seen the OCR scene and the growth for Zeus? 'Cause you came and did Mud 7 2017.
We did, yeah. So when we came and did Mud 7 in 2017, you can see how Zeus as an obstacle course race is having to fight to compete with other events. So at that point, Rock Solid turned up with a lovely big trailer full of kit, and we turned up with a whole load of tools and not a lot else, and we made the very best of what we could for Mud 7, and we utilised what is one of our favourite things, and that's Zeus family. We utilised our marshals, we had a whole lot of fun, we created some great obstacles, but it was done on a shoestring. Back then, for the smaller races, of which there were very many, you couldn't invest thousands of pounds. Everyone had the same sort of idea as us. Oh, it's really easy to put on an obstacle course. I'll get an empty skip, I'll fill it with water and put some logs over the top. And everyone sort of, everyone decided to do it. As well as I do, if you work back to the start with insurances and risk assessments, method statements, there's a whole lot of work that people don't see and don't realise that you have to, carry on with throughout the year to make these things happen. But obviously 2015, a massive amount of events, social media kind of exploded with groups. We had the Wrong'uns, the Obstacle Course UK, and many more that I got banned from. It just became really popular. I went and raced the World Championships in Ohio in 2015. And that was just on the edge of obstacle course racing becoming popular, as I see it now. It was fantastic. There was, let me think, in my age group, there must have been 50 people, and it felt like you were racing with the best in the world at the time. Now there's hundreds of, thousands of people that turn up and take part in the events. When you go off in an age group now, you are competing with 150, 200 people, and rightly so, because it's so very popular. More and more people are qualifying. they're meeting the criteria. But that many races at that time then couldn't keep up with what the requirement was. So they started to dwindle to where we are today, obviously falling by the wayside. Some deservedly so. Others, I think many people know, I don't hold back any punches when there's events out there that have conned and ripped off people. But there are some events that have survived and thrived. And like, for example, I'll take nuclear races. What a fantastic event. Brilliant event. And now we're left with...
some have survived and thrived, but some have just survived as well.
Of course, yeah. And I would actually say Zeus is probably one of those that's just surviving. We've had to move land this year. Before this current outbreak, our landowner decided they didn't want Zeus to happen on his land anymore. So we invested a lot of money.
Ashby Motor Park, was it?
That's it, yeah, Ashby Motor Park. So we struck up a deal with Richard over at Rough Events, where we would use his land. I would help with their events. They would let me use their land, but obviously I would need to get all my obstacles over there, which was a massive investment on our part, getting everything taken down. A month in the forest, taking down obstacles, removing the Fridge of Despair, etc., etc. And then obviously we're hit with this. So we will survive, but it's just going to be tough, eh?
I think it's put everybody. It was so sort of out of the blue, although obviously it were on news and what have you. It just felt so out of the blue. It's caught everybody on the back foot, and it's the mass participation events industry as a whole. It's hit everybody hard. Like, look at what they're doing in America, where Iron Man and Tough Mudder and Spartan are trying to put together some sort of coalition. I don't know how to describe it. Like, they're forming something to try and get some sort of help from the government for these mass participation events. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, they are helping people, because they're helping people's fitness. So it is usually the government, like especially the government in England, has been investing quite heavily in trying to help put mass participation events together in local authorities, like giving them money to be able to put them together. So it only makes sense for them to help us, but it kind of feels like, especially in UK, we've just been forgotten.
Yeah.
And I know there's enough people to try and take care of as it is. It just seems a shame that so many are going to fall by the wayside and not be able to weather the storm.
What I think a lot of people...
Yeah, and everyone's in the same boat, aren't they, really? Until we get some notification of what the next steps are and what's the plan.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't probably realise that these events, 80% of them are self-funded by you and I by doing our day jobs. So, the land at Zeus at Ashby de Zeus was... the landowner didn't want us to use it anymore. We were turning it over too much, to be fair, and in October this year, just gone, we had another hurricane, as we tend to have storms when we put a Zeus event on. And we did. It rained and rained and rained, and we turned the place over. So it's taken over a month of work to drop all the obstacles and get them, 50% of them moved over to Rough Events. We've actually got a very big container with kit in. We've got 2 big containers with kits in that we can't move until the land dries out. And Big Huey, which is the big slide. But they'll be going over in time for the next event, whether it be July the 18th or after, basically. So yeah, a bit of a downer to move, but every cloud and all that. Working with Richard at Rough Events, really nice guy. He's got a brilliant setup. The land is fantastic, and he's got a lot of kit already there. He's got a training centre already there, so really very lucky to be involved in that.
And with Zeus now, you've gone solo.
Yes.
So you've lost your compadre.
I've lost a sidekick in Mark. I've gained Paul Badger, who is an investor who he runs a Little Welly. A lot of people don't know what the Little Welly is. Basically, it's a kids' obstacle course race, and it's bigger than any of the kids' races for Spartan or dare I say nuclear.
Yeah, it's huge. People don't know it. Yeah, it's massive. Is it about how many kids do they get there a weekend? Is about 10,000 sort of.
Yeah, Henley they have about 10,000. He does 2 or 3 events a year, and I build that and run the marshals, medics, and all that sort of thing. So Paul's an investor in with Zeus now. I get to continue being the face, if you like, and still doing the builds and whatnot. But I'm getting a lot more guidance in terms of what to do and how to take it forward. We had a meeting actually just before COVID-19 broke out, talking to a marketing lady basically, who is trying to get us in with some major brands and put the links in so that we can, you know, take Zeus to the step where it should be, which is up with Little Welly. We're kind of concentrating less on OCR runners and more on the general public and charities, because that is where 80% of our runners come from. We'd get the returning runners, obviously, and we love that. We love the Zeus family, but we want everyone to experience what Zeus is.
Yeah, because you've got Team Zeus as well, who are always championing the brand and
Yeah.
out there wearing the vest, wearing the T-shirts. They're sort of all bought into it, and to you as well.
Yeah, I mean, Team Zeus, we have Zeus Elite, and the credentials for getting into Zeus Elite are not that you are the best. They are basically that you carry the values of Zeus with you wherever you go. And I'm going to use Jason Jacob. He is a frequent winner of Wolf Run, but I know full well if he saw someone struggling on an obstacle and he was in first place, he would stop and help them. He's got Zeus running through his body. All of our Zeus Elite are fantastic. They represent the brand really well. I'm proud to have all of them run with me. And we're actually just about to launch Zeus Family, which is, I'm not going to give it away here yet, but we have 2 families, mum, dad, and 2 kids, who are going to be sponsored by Zeus. These 2 families are exceptional in the way that they carry themselves, the way that they compete. What I might tell you is that one came first at the World Championships for her age category. So they're good as well, eh?
I thought you got the Albon family signed up there.
No, I didn't have room for him. I'd used all the places up by then. But yeah, we're going to start Zeus Family. And it's all about, for me, it's about making a lot of it more affordable as well. When I used to race, in 2015, when I was doing race after race after race, I didn't get any of those free. I was paying for them all, and I was lucky at that time. I was working in London, had a decent job, and had nothing to do at the weekend and nothing to spend my money on. So it wasn't a problem. But if you work out the cost of the events, anywhere between £50 and £100, it's a lot of money to go and do an event. Now, from putting them on, I know exactly how much it costs to put an event on. There's some events where you get amazing value for money. Rocket Race, fantastic value for money. Nuclear, fantastic value for money. Zeus, fantastic value for money. We're cheap, and you still get a fantastic course. So we want to keep that. We want to keep that ethos with our kit. So when I can get a Zeus top for £20, I'm not going to sell it for £35. Doesn't sit well with me. If I can get it for £20, you can have it for £22 and just cover the postage. We're not in it to make money. We're in it to make a difference. And that's kind of what happened with Next Generation Zeus. For those who don't know what that is, it's basically we sponsor 87 kids. So we pay for all of their training at different events across the country every month. of the year. So we've had training sessions at Ninja Warrior, so they don't pay to go to these training sessions. We've had training sessions at Ape Index. We've got one up in Scotland if it comes off in October. But we've got lots of people who are offering us their training facilities. And the idea is, and races also, so we have races, Zeus, Little Welly, Aztec race, where the kids don't pay to participate. So the idea is, one, they can train and train for free and learn for free. Two, they can race and race for free. It's not a burden on their parents either. If you're going to pay, I don't know, £20 a month for your kid to go and race every single month, that's a lot of money every year, and it's not feasible for a lot of people. And I wanted to
with
give
the
it
travel
to
as
more.
well and everything else that's in it.
It's a massive amount of money. It's a massive, some people can do it, and I get that, but I couldn't afford to pay for a kid to race and train, 2 or 3 times every month at these places. But we also then gave them the kit. We gave it to him free. It's not got Zeus on it. It's got Next Generation Zeus, and the requirement is that they were nominated by their friends and family to because of something they had done or were doing or wanted to do. We were only going to do 50, but we decided to do more. There's just too many to choose from. So those kids basically this year will have, outside of COVID-19, would have had 1 or 2 events or training every single month for the entire year. And every single one of them is exceptionally good at representing Zeus. And I'm really proud of every single one of them. And people will kind of say to you, "Oh, Zeus and Zeus family." It's exactly what it is, because when we all meet up, everyone's equal, everyone has a great laugh, and we all support each other. And if you win, it's a bonus. Otherwise, we're just going to have a whole lot of fun learning, doing what we do.
And how do people get involved with that? So you're saying the next one's in Scotland in October. How would people, is this something you sign up to, or again, is it something you have to get nominated for?
Yes, you have to get nominated. So each year, and this is what, it's difficult, but we'll pledge to do this now with you guys, because it gives us drive when we have a target. So right now we have all of these kids that are sponsored by us, and we have all of these events that they go to. What we're going to do is, in December again, like we did last year, we're going to get people to nominate their kids to be a part of Next Generation Zeus. So there will be the existing kids and then the new nominations. So over a period of years, I would like to take it up to the point where we're supporting hundreds of kids, where they don't have to pay for training, they don't have to pay for kit, and they don't have to pay for events, because, well, it's the right thing to do, isn't it? If you can, then you should do it.
That's the Zeus ethos.
It is, certainly is.
I mean, you've always been looking to give, and you got quite heavily involved with the team No Fear on Wheels with Sean Gash, and had an epic journey with him as well. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, so we had a few epic journeys there. It started off with running around in the mud with quite a few OCR runners. Andy King, who actually runs Ninja Warrior in Stoke-on-Trent, one of my best partners, used to head up the team with me as well. We used to take Sean around all the courses in his wheelchair. Great fun, great laugh, great camaraderie. And of course, back then, there were not many wheelchairs going around courses, so it was an amazing spectacle.
Yeah, we had him at the first Mud 7, and it was something pretty special seeing him come across the finish line.
It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. We went to Kilimanjaro with a view to get Sean to the top. It was an epic journey. That was, I think it was 7 days we were climbing for. And for those that have climbed Kilimanjaro before, you'll know that if the oxygen saturation drops below, I think it was 92%, something like that, you didn't have a choice, you would turn back. Unfortunately, Sean wasn't very far from the top, but the porters just couldn't do anymore, so he didn't make it to the top.
And he injured his leg as well.
That was on So last year, I believe he went and did Ben Nevis with another group, and he injured his leg, and believe had to have it amputated in the end. So that was a big shame for him. We did. We've done quite a few events. We did an event with Chris Nick, a guy who used to play rugby, and unfortunately he broke his back. And
full of the joys today.
He wanted to get out and about, so we set up a challenge where there was 3 chairs being raced up Mount Snowdon, and I got to lead Chris Nick's team up. And in the car park, I said to him, I know what the world record time is for the fastest ascent of Snowdon in a wheelchair. Do you want to try and beat it? And he was well up for it. And we did. We smashed it. Absolutely smashed it. So that was really good fun.
Because that's what you were doing a lot of training for. I'm seeing lots of videos of you training in a wheelchair. Was that what that was for?
It. No, that one was for, we did Land's End to John O'Groats in wheelchairs. So it was changing 20 lives in 20 days. We raised an awful lot of money, and we gave a lot of like wheelchairs and cots and all sorts of specialist kit that was required to people by doing that. And my job was basically to be the able-bodied guy in a wheelchair. Completely ruined my wrists and my elbows. But in fact, even now, today, I can still curse those moments when I go to lift weights because my elbows still hurt.
Well, let's go off track a little bit then. So you've done so many OCRs. Tell us what your favourite 3 have been and the reasons behind it.
Okay. Right. So at number 1 is the finish. In fact, the whole event. The whole event of the World Championships last year. The reason is the build up to it. I was involved in the build with the nuclear team. I was really lucky, and I was kind of accepted into the nuclear family, and they made me feel literally part of the family. I got to help build the course, and then I got to race all of the events as well. The final event, not the final one, the team event. I was racing with 2 Zeus Elite and me, so you can't really call it 3 Zeus Elite, but it was 2 plus 1, 2 plus a fat guy at the time. And I was racing with Jason and Monica, and we were doing really well. We were racing pretty hard, actually. And when we came to the final wall, it ended up with us, a team from Cliff Lakes and a team from the Elements, all helping each other and then all finishing together, which at that time, over years, you start to lose a love for a certain thing, like a sport, or, you lose your enthusiasm. If you ever needed anything to kickstart that enthusiasm all over again, that was it. It was just phenomenal to have these guys from different teams who were competing, who suddenly remembered what the OCR spirit was. Katie Joyce actually gave me a foot up over the wall. Katie's not the biggest of lasses, but she's like, go on, stand on me. It was brilliant. It was fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. So that would come in as number 1. Number 2 has to be back doing the first OCR for Tough Guy. It was brutal, it was horrible, the hills killed me, but that's what made me fall in love with it. So that's an easy one for number 2. Number 3, I think, has to be when I did 2 beasts in one day to get the double trifecta in 2015. There comes a point in your life when you are at you're at your fittest, and I was at my fittest then. I'd run 1 lap of the beast and was keen to go out and do another lap, and I had Mark and Lucille at the time who came and ran the second lap with me. It was just phenomenal just to be able to get round and complete a challenge that no one else had done. So Spartan.
What year was that?
Event. I think it was 2000. It must have been 2015.
Was that Pippinford as well? Was it then?
I'm trying to think where it was now. It was the year they only had one beast anyway, which is why no one was getting a trifecta. People were only getting one trifecta, if you like, because there was only one beast.
I can't remember what year I got the trifecta. So if it's 2015 or 2016, because I led the beast that year.
Oh, God, I wondered how long it'd be before that got brought.
Yeah, I led the.
Did you have a false start?
James Appleton. No, just a fast start.
For a full 50 metres.
It was
it 50
further
metres
than that. Yeah, it's
It
like
weren't-
further than that.
Don't let him fool you. It weren't very far. He were on his back by the first corner.
So you've also shown that OCR isn't just for humans as well, Gavin.
Yes, yeah.
Dogsticle.
Dogsticle is the craziest, most amazing thing you can be involved in. So I've got a dog, Lola. I've also got Reggie as well, who's not allowed in the room because he'll eat everything here. But Lola is a chocolate Labrador who loves running, simple as that. So we got into Canicross, and whilst I was building Zeus, Lola would come out with me, and she was loving running around it. So I spoke to a few people. I had no experience of putting dogs over obstacles, and it turns out no one else did either. So we went through the right guidelines, and we became the very first, before any of these muddy dog events came along, the very first event to do dog obstacle racing. And over the years, we must have had a good 1,000 dogs run our courses. Brilliant, absolutely great fun. It's balmy to watch, absolutely balmy, because the dog wants to go through the water, but the owner doesn't, or vice versa. So they just get dragged through.
I don't think you realise until you've got a dog. I've never had a dog before until the last sort of few years. Never wanted one, got peer pressured into it. But when they are part of the family, I suppose there's quite a bit of a bond, again, with the two of you going through something together like that.
Yeah, it's quite funny if you have a look through some of our Zeus pages. There's a few pictures of people finishing at the end, and the dog and owner are completely covered from head to toe in mud, and the owner doesn't look as impressed as the dog does.
So with Dogsticle though, Gavin, what are sort of the unique challenges of putting that sort of event on in terms of obstacles and things to scale them for the animals and from a sort of safety perspective and whatever as well?
So from start to finish, you have to give safe routes on everything. So one dog may see, for example, a way steep wade. A dog will see that and think, fantastic, I'm going through. That's great if the owner's happy with that, but you need to give a safe and alternative route around, because a lot of dogs won't want to go into the water. So you're almost marking your course twice, but you have to be spot on, because obviously if one section is going through a lake and you're directing people around it, they all need to end up in the same place. Certain obstacles obviously can't be done. So if you have an A-frame or something like that, it's just not going to happen. So what we do is we put in barriers, we put in fences, anything that a dog can get over, climb over. The one area that we introduced last year with a lot of help from Wendy Clark was a dog agility area. The idea was that we'd let dogs give it a try. Now, we know full well that there's going to be people turn up who do dog agility day in, day out, but there's also going to be first-time dogs. And I learnt quite a few valuable lessons where a dog will come up to a seesaw. If it goes over, when you watch Crufts, you see them go over these big, tall seesaws. Obviously, they've trained to do this. Our seesaw, because if it was for first-time dogs, if you like, would have a drop of 3 inches to keep it safe, but it gets them to give it a go. We'd have jumps, which were literally 4 inches off the ground. We'd have an A-frame, which was 5 foot high, but quite shallow. But it was just to give everyone a chance to be able to give it a go. Unbelievably, we did see on the water slide, people wanted to go down with their dogs, and a couple of people went down with their dogs, and there's some pictures of that, and it's hilariously brilliant to watch.
So you've built in Ashby de la Zouche, you've built courses for dogs, you've helped with World Championships. How the hell did you get a gig over in China building an obstacle course over there?
So China, you must remind me to tell you about axe throwing later on, because I've just reminded myself. So China. You know when you get an email from the Nigerian man telling you that he's got 10 grand that he needs to give you, and you never reply.
I've had one today from a coronavirus fund.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Well, we got an email saying someone wants to put an obstacle course on in China. Are you interested? Yeah. Okay. Let us go and have a look. If you let us go and have a look and you pay for us to go out there and have a look, then yeah, definitely. Now, I actually went to have a look the day after the London Marathon, and I did the London Marathon wearing a wedding dress, and I was chafed to hell everywhere. So I was walking a little bit like I'd done something wrong, and basically went to China for 4 days to scout out an event for kids. And it was almost like a pipe dream that just came to fruition. Paul Badger, who from Little Ellie, orchestrated the full event itself, and we went out for 3 weeks to build the event in a place called Nanning, which was southern China. There was one person in the whole of southern China who spoke English, and they found it incredibly funny to walk around with bald, bearded, tattooed men and see literally what we would eat. So, but what an experience. It was amazing, absolutely amazing.
And where have you built anywhere else, or is that the sort of, you can't go much further than that? But
well, you can't really go much further than that. I've done as part of my job, I build obstacle rigs and school trim trails. So I've built obviously all over the country and in Italy and France for that. But I'm hoping that the World Championships enjoyed what I provided for them this year, and I'm hoping for an opportunity to get out and work with them again, especially soon as it's in America. I'd quite like a challenge of a mountain race. So
we announced you as one of the zones at Mud 7 this year. Also got rough events there, so it's great to see you back for 2020. What have you got planned?
Well,
without giving the game away too much.
Without giving the game away, I think I'm going to bring some stuff that you haven't had before. I've got, obviously, from moving from Zeus, and depending on if Zeus happens or doesn't happen, depending on the current situation, I'm going to have kit in collapsible form, which means I can bring rigs, walls, pretty much anything and everything. I think Huey needs to come. I think also our big long water slide needs to come, and I think our berthing tubes need to come as well, because you haven't experienced anything till you've been through them.
Well, it's been 42 years, but
we'll just make sure we don't put any meat inside them.
What's the USP? What's the USP for Zeus? Why should people choose that with their hard-earned money to sign up for a Zeus race?
Right. If you want to feel like a person instead of a number, so if you want to turn up to an event and you want to feel special, you want to be noticed, you want to have help, you want to, be a part of a family, then every single person that comes to Zeus, the moment you walk through that door, becomes a part of our family. My marshals are the best marshals in the entire OCR community. They happen to be probably your marshals as well. But obviously we ply them with special tea first thing in the morning. When you go round Zeus, you will feel like you're winning regardless, because they're fantastic. So the unique selling point for Zeus is the marshals, and the unique selling point for the Zeus is the fact that you become a part of the family when you come and do our course.
I do recall when you were at Mud 7 that the Zeus zone actually got voted best atmosphere for the marshals that were there on the day.
I think that's because we were all dressed up as gods and that, eh?
They were.
Yeah. There were some wicked pictures from that
including
day.
our very own Lisa as well. She was part of the team.
That's it, yeah. I remember Lisa was dressed up as a goddess as well, and we had drums playing and music playing, and I mean, we had cues like God knows what, but we had a fantastic
cheers for that.
Got to learn somehow, haven't you?
We live and learn, and now we're having you back. So
That's why you're putting me near the end, eh?
well, with each person that we get on onto the podcast, we give you a 30-second window to do your big sell.
Okay.
So we're going to count you down. You've got 30 seconds to do the big sell on Zeus, why people should choose it, and over other events as well. So if you're ready, 3, 2, 1, go.
So Zeus events first started for one reason, because we wanted everyone to feel a part of a family. We wanted the kids to be able to run with their parents, and we wanted it to be accessible to every single person, regardless of age or ability. We wanted to ensure that it was good value and challenging. So we put on an event that was 7 kilometres at the time. What are you getting there? How many is that? 15 seconds? That's going too quick.
Boom. That's it. That's your 30 seconds, doesn't it? Is that just the fastest 30 seconds? It just goes quick, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it?
It goes so quick. It goes so quickly.
Maybe we should do that again. We can edit it again, can't we? We can edit it for 45 seconds.
You have to speak a hell of a lot faster, Gavin, I'm afraid.
Oh, I don't need to speak fast. Don't worry about that.
So what have you been doing in the whole COVID situation? Obviously, you're self-employed, and
yeah. So
what have you been doing to try and keep yourself busy and to keep yourself sane?
Yeah, I'm not going to give a woe is me story. Unfortunately, the construction is a little bit stagnant at the moment. I am still getting emergency call outs, which is fine. So that's going to keep that going. Zeus is completely on hold as it goes. So I'm training, learning new skills, axe throwing.
On your home rig?
On my home rig. If you want a home rig, remember to give me a shout, because we also run V10. Myself and Rich Riley, we build timber and metal rigs and make all of your attachments. That almost sounded like a radio advert then. Could we put a jingle over that one?
Sounds like you need another 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So the bandage on your hand that I can see through, is that from the axe throwing then, Gavin?
Right, so what happened was I was standing with the axe.
But you're not very good at it yet, is one thing, I'm assuming.
12 Mongolian axe throwers started on me.
In a dark alley.
In a dark alley. No, I'm really good at the axe throwing. I'm back to about sort of 10 metres and throwing happily, no problem at all. The problem is me then getting the axe out of the wood, because I've probably sharpened it a little bit too much so that it sticks regardless of what angle it lands at. And as I went to pick it up, my skin made a wonderful tearing noise right across my wrist as I did it. There is a video, and in effect, I'm going to send it to you after this, because as always, I videoed as I was doing the axe throwing, and it videos me cutting my wrist and then shouting
Parental
over
guidance recommended.
Yeah. Oh, well, I shouted over to Colette, "Are you all right with blood?" Because there was quite a bit. And she went, yes. I said, I better stop filming first. So I come over to the camera and whatnot with blood peeing down my arm, sort of thing. So yeah, so 7 stitches later, not great,
gosh.
hey, but yeah, still training. So the only thing I can't do at the moment is grip anything tight in this hand. So one arm swinging at the moment.
So you didn't get tempted to start? I just assumed that maybe you'd got bored of it and started to juggle them or something instead. And
no, well, in lockdown, I must admit, I've been able to create stuff that, you see how people are clearing out their spice racks and things like that? Well, this is my version. I get to mess around with my rig. So I've been casting atlas stones, making spears. What else have we done? We made sleds for sled pulls, farmers' carries and things like that. So that's kind of what I do with my spare time. And I've kind of digressed a little bit into kind of heavy events, because I think there's probably not enough heavy events for people like me at obstacle course races. We might stand a chance if everything weighed the same as me.
Well, I saw the atlas stones. They look fantastic. Sort of thing that you could make more of and flog on, take to events for people to take home as well as the atlas stones, because it's not something that people just go and buy from the supermarket or make themselves at home.
I don't think that the little one which I cast, I think it was 40 kilograms. The one that I inherited from Gary Hodges is about 60 kilograms, and I'm still learning to shoulder that or get it up if you like. But we are making and selling farmers carries and sled pulls and things like that. So yeah, people want to hit us up for that. That's no problem at all.
How did Gary pick that up?
I don't think he did. He's got a little digger, isn't he? When he's not bursting pipes, he uses his digger to get stuff out.
Bless him.
He's got some events for sale, I think, anyway.
Well, thanks for coming on, Gavin. I mean, I know it's tough times for everybody at the moment. A lot of people are in the same boat. We're all trying to put that, keep a smile on our faces. We're all going to be stronger after everything that's going on at the moment. And I just appreciate your time for coming on and telling us more about Zeus.
No problems. If I can just say to everyone in obstacle course racing, it's pretty dark now and there's no events for you to do and things like that. As an event director, regardless of what events it is that you like to go and do, support those events, go to those events, help them out where you can, because it's going to be a really tough time for them. I'm surrounded at Zeus by some utterly bloody brilliant people who help me out. They help me out put the event on. I have people message me saying you can come and stay with me and whilst you're building it, or if you need help, just help support people in every direction because they're going to need it. And by doing that, our great sport, because it is a sport, it will be eventually, is going to continue on and we'll get to enjoy it for many years to come. So keep it as Zeus family, eh?
Yes.
Sounds like a good message to me, Gavin.
Good.
Definitely. Right, so lovely stuff. Cheers, Gavin. Thank you very much. And well done, Kevin. You're beautifully done there.
I'm no Carl Wibberley.
I thought it was really well done. So I get to sell all this on eBay now. Is that right?
That's it. That's your reward. Yeah.
Excellent.
But no, it's been good, and we do appreciate, like Kevin said, just to echo what he said, we do appreciate you taking time to come on because it's obviously you've got to invest your time wisely. Although you've ended up with more of it, you obviously need to be finding avenues that are pay off for yourself. So we do appreciate you coming on and taking time to speak to us and just giving us an insight basically into what makes Zeus a little bit more unique, because it's all good talking to the big boys. We also want to be speaking to the people who are sort of grassroots and who have built up from that and sort of know what it's like to be to be able to put across how the smaller events are ran and what have you, and people still don't realise that it does have to be run as like a giant hobby for most race directors.
It does.
It's definitely not a big income revenue stream or whatever like some expect it to be.
No.
But no, we do appreciate it. So
Thanks,
anyone
guys.
who's joined us for this interview and has made it through to the end, we really appreciate it. Don't forget, whatever directory you're listening on or whatever app or what have you, don't forget to click the subscribe button so you can get notified for the next episode as it goes live. Mud 7, 8th of August, as far as we're concerned, until we get told differently, it's still going ahead.
Boom.
So if you have got the funds, I know everyone, it's a little bit tight for everyone at the moment, but if you have got the funds, get yourself signed up. It'd be amazing to have your support. It'll be good to see you 8th of August in the Midlands, and that's just mud7.com to sign up and to get more information.
Lots of man hugs and lots of muddy hugs as well.
Yeah,
8th of August.
definitely. Especially if we're out of isolation and whatever by then, and there's going to be a lot of people going to be desperate for a muddy hug by then. So, yeah.
I'm going to bring my mud pits with me. Don't you worry. We'll soon make that happen.
Exactly. Right, gents. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you both again soon.
Cheers,
Look after
guys.
yourself.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thanks.